I'm very happy to be here with you on this very homely, significant, and a far-reaching event. Homely because of my knowledge of Loba. I'll share with you one experience. I don't want to say the name. A few years ago, I was in a home of an old boy of Loyola School. The boy, now a young man, he was in the United States for 2 years, and he had just come in from the flight, and he calls out to Amma, I'm home, Amma, and I'm going. He threw the bag into the front of the yard, and he ran away. And I just happened to walk into that home after a few minutes, and this Amma was complaining to me, Father, what have you done to my boy? This guy was away for 2 years. He throws the bag and goes for a Loba meeting. That's an amazing homeless spirit. And the same spirit I see here. I'm extremely glad to be with you. Very few reflections, a short reflection on the global leadership that you're celebrating. I hope I'm not too heavy with you on a light evening like this. I want to look at the context in which you are giving these awards. Let me begin with the Jesuit context. We have a new Jesuit general. I'm sure you've seen the picture, the man with the mustache. Father Arturo Sosa, a political scientist from Venezuela. In his inaugural words, he invited the whole Jesuit family to what he called the audacity of the impossible. Taking off from a call to the audacity of the improbable by Father Bruno, who inaugurated the general congregation which gathered to elect the new general. He asked us, all of us, to leave fear behind and to row towards the open sea. And that as the attitude of life which should define every Jesuit student, every Jesuit. He invited us to contribute to what seems to be impossible today. And I'm quoting him. He says, a humanity reconciled in justice, that lives in peace in a common home well cared for, where there's place for all of us because we recognize our brothers and sisters, sons and daughters of the same and one only Father. He said, we are not alone. We want to increase collaboration. As a multicultural body, we are called to witness to the wealth of interculturality as the face of humanity, created and in the image and likeness of God. Thank you, Mr. Sabrinath. I'm so glad that you learned that in the school. Exactly the same thing our general is telling us. The second context, at least some of you would have read an article in The Guardian by Stephen Hawking. You know, Stephen Hawking, I'm going to summarize what he said. He said, this is the most dangerous time of our planet. We can't go on ignoring inequality because we have the means to destroy the world, but not to escape it. More than any time in history, our species need to work together. We face awesome environmental challenges, climate change, food production, overpopulation, the decimation of other species, epidemic disease, acidification of oceans. Together, they are a reminder that we are at the most dangerous moment in the development of humanity. We now have the technology to destroy the planet on which we live, but have not yet developed the ability to escape it. A third context, the change in world leadership. Let's begin with the most prominent, the US leadership. Look at France, look at Italy, look at the rest of the world. Democracies are throwing up right-wing, sort of fundamentalist leaders who seem to offer a corporate-led, profit-oriented, populist governance. Let me quote from, some of you have read Santosh Desai recently in Times of India. He says, this is a change born out of anger, an angry impulse for sweeping changes, and is a product of democratic process. The desire for sweeping change by challenging some dominant narratives of the day is in effect a desire to arrest change. And he talks about the role of media, social media, especially in that. A fourth context, the power of storytelling. Again, I'm quoting an author called Tobias Keir, who wrote recently about the power of storytelling. He points out how even politicians have depended on the power of the story. For instance, he says, when the left was in ascendancy, he says, he had the powerful story of exploitation, human resistance, and eventually human achievement in the shape of a classless society. In recent years, the right has managed to tell us different stories that for various reasons seem to be more convincing to any. Inevitable state-aided neoliberalism, for instance. And he says, the victories of Mr. Narendra Modi, Mr. Erdogan in Turkey, Donald Trump in the US are all driven by powerful narratives that explains past and promises a future. Powerful narratives that explains the past and promises a future. Now, my question to all of us Leolites here is can we recognize these narratives? Can we discern them in the typical Jesuit way? And can we say a new story? And this is the challenge to the global leaders. This is a challenge to every leader. Let us narrate the story differently. Let us dream of what St. Ignatius dreamed of, everybody's salvation. He said, you're not working for your salvation, you're looking for everybody's salvation. It's a collective dream. It's a collaborative dream. Let's remember the Jesuit words of this narrative, men and women for others. Men and women for others. Magis, excellence. My dear friends, let me conclude by calling all of us to this challenge to act. There's a story, Zen story. There's a tiger in the cage. He was going round and round. And there's a little bird fluttering around. And he asked the tiger, Tiger uncle, what are you doing? He said, I'm writing. What? You're writing? What are you writing? 0, said the tiger. But why are you only writing 0? Asked the bird. And the tiger said, you won't understand it now. When you lose freedom, everything is 0. Sagariga Ghosh, again, I'm quoting from Times of India, wrote a few weeks ago, one by one, we are losing our freedom. Others are dictating what you should eat, what you should read, what you should sing, when and how you should use your money. And they rationalize all this loss of freedom with the narrative of a better future. It's time we discuss. It's time we question. What future? Whose future? What kind of future? Jesuits and their collaborators, the Loyola family has a lot of work to do. The primary role is to break the silence. My only prayer today is that may the LOBA Global Leadership Awards and other activities of theirs lead us to this courage to break the silence. Once again, thank you, friends, and may God bless you all. Thank you again.